All right, good Monday evening to you. It's time for the second episode of the Gulf Coast Blitz for 2024 high school football season. Watching us tonight on Facebook, also on Twitter X, as I like to call it, on Instagram and YouTube. And as Joshua Wilson of FortHSFootball.com, I am Marty Pallman. And it is time for week one of the FHSA football season. Kickoff classics happening last Friday and Thursday and Friday in the area, or in the state of Florida, pardon me, and in Gulf Coast as well. And get going this Thursday with some games. And of course, Friday night, everybody gets going for the most part.
No, you're absolutely right. And there's a lot there. And, it's definitely it's hard to believe we're at week one. Everybody's like, oh, I wish it was football season. Well, here you go.
It's game week.
It's football season. It's game week.
That's right. It's game week. And we're here. And over the weekend, you can kind of start to feel it as well. But, coming up on our show tonight on the Gulf Coast Blitz, we will talk, of course, our pick six. That'll be coming up a little bit later as we'll look back on last week's picks as well from the week zero, as we called it. We'll see if we have a fan question of the week. If not, we will also be
taking comments,
making lots of comments. We got a lot of the Blitz lines coming up.
We're going to have a double round of Blitz lines tonight.
Double round, that's right. And before we go on, though, we want to the Blitz lines. We want to tell you about Philip Crutchfield. No two of us are exactly alike. That's why you need a financial advisor with the freedom to focus on the details that make your life your own, your family, the challenges you face, the dreams that inspire you. Whatever your goals, you need an advisor who can create a plan uniquely tailored to you, all backed by the sophisticated resources of Raymond James. That's life well planned. To learn more, call financial advisor J. Philip Crutchfield at 352-642-8330. J. Philip Crutchfield, Esquire. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC. Philip Crutchfield. I just think that it should have a J in front. It's not like an attorney, Esquire, that name. But anyway, we know Philip's listening, so appreciate or watching, so we appreciate that as well. And thank his assistance as always. And now that we've gotten that out of the way, the business part there, it's time for. You heard it, the Blitz lines. It says coming up. Josh cues the music. So there it is. The Blitz lines. I like that. And we're going to start with, Clearwater Central Catholic is where we start. And no problems with Robinson in the preseason opener there for them. The Marauders, no problem there.
Yeah, the Marauders, back-to-back state runner-up the last 2 years, and the Marauders, unfortunately, the Marauders, if Clearwater Central Catholic had been in a different classification, they probably would have won a state title the last 2 years.
I agree, but unfortunately, the best team in Florida
was Chaminade Madonna.
Probably, either them or Aquinas, but probably Chaminade.
And Chaminade Madonna looks like a college team, the way some of these athletes look. And I will tell you this, and that for Clearwater Central Catholic, I know this is a great way, to like, all right, you know what? Hey, we know what happened last year, but at the same time, here it is. It's a new season, and a great way to get ready for this week, because the team they're going to be playing this week, they won 14-0 against the Berkeley Prep over Boca Ciega.
Yeah, that's quite an opener. Now we'll have that in our pick six definitely coming up in a little while. But yeah, Berkeley Prep, a little bit of a struggle. They win 14-0 though over Boca Ciega. It show a whole lot in their kickoff classic. But yeah, Berkeley Prep defending state champ there. You mentioned Clearwater Central Catholic.
Yes.
I mean, they probably just put us in another classification, because they probably win a state title. You're right, anywhere else, at least in the the lower classifications or the smaller classifications there. But yeah, Berkeley Prep on the other hand, good start for them, and you're right off the bat, they've got to travel to CCC this week and start the regular season. And at Berkeley Prep, we were talking in our Central Florida show about Cocoa, and Berkeley Prep might be the team that can challenge Cocoa, who's looking for 3 straight state titles. But I guess we'll see. But a nice win for them in the kickoff classic against Boca.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's the big thing is that for Berkeley Prep, you're on state title defense now for the first time ever in school history.
Yeah,
so this is huge right here, and again, everybody's going to talk about Dom Sayo's masterclass in coaching. Now it's a new season. Now here you go. It's time to reset. Okay, 14-0. You didn't open up the entire playbook, obviously, in the preseason. But now you have to start opening that playbook up now, because you got Clearwater Central Catholic right out of the gate.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of good openers in the state of Florida this week. We've had some.
I think we had to cut some games out of this one.
In this one, there are some great games, and we were also looking around the state. And tomorrow night we'll have our South Florida, North Florida Blitz as well. There are some week one. It didn't used to be like this, but man, now everybody plays everybody because of the the FHSA or the Max Preps scoring system, FHSA, I guess, point system. They everybody has to have a tough schedule. They want to play a tough schedule, so we've got a really good week one of games coming up here this week. But looking back still, speaking of defending state champions, Cardinal Mooney, who won their first state title in 40 some years last year, they defeat Booker in the battle in Sarasota 45-32 in a game that was described by the Sarasota Herald Tribune as, well, anything but a classic. But again, it's a kickoff classic. We get it. So 77 points in this game, numerous missed tackles, 30 penalty flags, almost as many players suffering cramps. The game took 3 hours and 33 minutes to play. So obviously that's a long game.
And I want to say that Booker, I believe right this second, because head coach Scotty Littles is serving a suspension unless they have gotten it appealed. But I believe if it says in there, it might indicate, they're some interesting things, when you're kind of misaligned there, hey, you're playing sloppy football to start off the season. Obviously, everybody's going to be rusty coming out. I mean, I get it.
Right.
I get it. But, for both Cardinal Mooney and Booker, Booker getting to the state semifinals last year and obviously Cardinal Mooney winning that state title, you don't want to be rusty for too long, because if you're rusty for too long, you're going to be halfway through the season and then you're going to be realized, what did we do?
Well, if you're rusty for too long, you're not going to have a very good year. You're right. If you get you'll be 5-5 maybe, or 6-4. But yeah, you can get through that in the kickoff classic. I know I went to a game last week that wasn't a kickoff classic. It was a regular season game in SSAA play, and that itself was pretty sloppy. Turnovers and penalties. I mean, it kind of happens early in the season because you've been working out all the off season and for a month basically in August, or actually about 3 weeks, and you start playing. So it's tough right away. You don't have a preseason. Well, you do have a preseason game some places. It's kind of like, you watch the NFL, they get 3 preseason games.
Yeah.
So, by the regular season, you'd think they'd almost be ready to go.
But in high school football, you only get 1.
High school football,
one, and that's it.
In college football, you get 0.
It's weird. It's weird. It's where you go from high school having you get 1 preseason game, college you get 0, and then hey, welcome to the pros where you get 3, and
we get paid here. We need to go. Well, then again, in college, yes, but
all right, we're going to take a little trip up I-75 into Pasco County and talk about some of the teams there. Zephyr Hills edges East Lake, Wiregrass Ranch draws a tie with Dunellen, and Mitchell just blows past Palm Harbor University.
Yeah, lots of interesting things.
And those are the 3 best teams. And those are typically right now are the 3 best teams there in Pasco County by hands down. I mean, between like Zephyr Hills, Wiregrass Ranch, and Mitchell, those are your 3 best teams. Typically there in Pasco.
And Wiregrass Ranch, I mean, what a game there with Dunellen. And we think Dunellen's going to be pretty good. That'll be a team we talk about in the North Florida Blitz. But, they are, 13-13 tie there. Good ball game between Dunellen and Wiregrass Ranch. You mentioned Zephyr Hills. They win 31-26 over East Lake. Good game there as well. Zephyr Hills, we know that's been a perennial playoff team lately. And, Mitchell having no problems at all against Palm Harbor. So we know Mitchell, again, they're another team we'll be watching as the season goes on. So, those 3 teams win their kickoff classics. And now we'll move on to start the regular season this week. As we now talk about, here's a team we know a lot about.
I mean, if you're watching here, you talked about Lakeland. There's a lot of Lakeland fans that obviously watch the shows here, and Lakeland, I mean, they just come out, shut Plant City out in one half against Plant City, shut Bartow out in the other half of what they played in a jamboree. It was supposed to have been a full game against Plant City, but Bartow lost their kickoff classic at Fort Meade because there's some issues going on over at Fort Meade right now. But here you go. Bartow comes in, joins in on this, makes it a jamboree. And Lakeland's just like, well, all right, we'll take care of this over here and we'll take care of that over here. And it's just like, there's nothing else. Hey, there's nothing wrong here in the neighborhood over here at Bryant Stadium. And that's what it is.
Yeah. And as Roy Furuoka, the Lakeland Ledger wrote, Lakeland's plan was simple. Just keep it simple. That's what they did. They
call that KISS, right?
Yeah. Keep it simple. Yeah. Stupid. Right.
Or something else.
Or something.
Or keep it simple and smarter.
Smarter. Okay. Yeah. That could be one way of saying it. I know the other way, but yeah. The Dreadnoughts, as you see it, 14-0 over Plant City, 27-0 over Bartow. And so far, so good. But And we can talk about this game some later. This will be a pick in our South Florida Blitz tomorrow night. Lakeland travels to Miami Central to begin this week.
Yeah,
Powell week 1.
Yeah, that's gonna be in our picks tomorrow night.
Yeah,
and that's just, I mean, honestly, it's
but
at Travis Powell. Yeah, there you go.
When we talk about though huge games in the state of Florida in week 1, that's another one. I mean, there are a lot of really good games this week, and that might be the best one right there. Miami Central, for them, a disappointing season last year, expected to be contending for the state title. We know Lakeland has won the last 2 as well, but and
here's another thing, to think about this with Lakeland and Miami Central. Like people said, Lakeland's too afraid to go down to Travis Powell. Lakeland's too afraid to go down for years. Not anymore. Nope. It's here. They're going to Travis Powell week 1. It's a battle of 2 teams that are just, that have household recognition, not just in Florida, but across the country. And you can't, you definitely plays. And here you go. I love it. No, Scandelis. It's a nickname for one of their teams here. I see Emory Williams Smith has made some comments, but we will get to him in a little bit here. But this one, first time Lakeland plays a regular season game in Miami.
That's hard to believe.
There you go.
Wow, that's hard to believe, but yeah, that tells you right there.
Never once in Bill Castle's 47 years did he make a trip down to Miami, but here you go. Under Coach Frazier, they're taking that bus and they're going down the Florida Turnpike to Miami.
A regular season game, right? Because I said they won some state titles down at Dolphin Stadium a few times, but yeah, so they played in Miami, but yeah, not a regular season game. But you're right,
and this is huge. This is huge for the Dreadnoughts. Huge.
That is huge, and it's going to be a good, obviously a huge test early in the year for a team that's trying to win their 3rd straight state title. You mentioned Lakeland. Plant City was originally supposed to be the matchup. Plant City also beat Bartow 14-0 in the other quarter, or other half. So. Bartow, tough week for them, but yeah, Plant City gets 1 win and Lakeland wins 2, and now the real season begins. And as Coach Frazier told the Lakeland Ledger, we get a big dog next week. He ain't lying.
No, I mean, when
Rockets are a big dog,
and let me see if I do have it pulled up here. I mean, Miami Central here in terms of the rankings, the FloridaHSFootball.com sports media rankings that come out are going to come out weekly here. We had the preseason rankings that came out late last week, and when in terms of talking about Miami Central, here you go. Miami Central, number 1 in Class 3A to start the season, received 11 first place out of 13 votes.
Booker got 2.
Got 2, but and I will tell you this: there will be more voters on this poll coming after week 1, so the number of first place votes could substantially rise here for Miami Central here in terms of that. And then Lakeland, I mean, you talk about a crowded Class 5A. St. Thomas Aquinas, Lakeland got 2 first place votes, and they're starting the season number 2. And then Mainland, they're number 3. So the 3 defending state champions last year from 3M. 4S and 3S respectively for last year, sitting there in that new Class 5A, and they're all stacked up. They're 1, 2, 3.
So St. Thomas Aquinas begins with the number 2 team in the country in Bishop Gorman down in Broward County this weekend. Meanwhile, Central gets Lakeland coming down to Travis Powell. Quite a Lakeland number 2 team in that classification. So that's going to be week 1. We're going to see already what Aquinas and Lakeland look like.
And of course, the high school football 300, high school football America 300. I mean, Miami Central is number 22 in the nation according to those rankings. And I'm trying to Lakeland can't be too far behind. Lakeland number 47. So again, the matchup of 2 top 50 teams in the nation. You can't beat that. And we're going to talk even more about it tomorrow because you know what, the Rockets, usually a state championship staple.
Right.
They weren't there last year.
Max Preps rankings, the state of Florida, Central 5, Lakeland 8. So 2 top 10 teams all together. Those are all in the state of Florida. Yeah, tomorrow night we will, and check out our South Florida Blitz tomorrow night if you want to hear more about the game. Larry Bluestein will be on with us tomorrow night. That's at 7:30 as well. But definitely a game between a historic game as Lakeland heads down to Miami-Dade County, the Travis Powell, to take on the Rockets of Central. Well, no guests tonight, but we will have plenty of Blitz lines still to get to. We also have our pick 6. That'll be interesting as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll also give you our results from our first week of pick 6s as well. All right. I am Marty Pallman. That's Joshua Wilson. We'll take a 2-minute water break and return in a moment to the Gulf Coast Blitz. All right, welcome back to the Gulf Coast Blitz. Marty Pallman, Joshua Wilson. Oh, I forgot that Josh plays the music again. It's the Blitz Lines Part 2 tonight. Part two.
Part two. Is it two?
Two. Part 2 of the Blitz Lines here as we continue on the Gulf Coast Blitz. So we'll take you up to our fan question of the week and the pick six. But right now, more topics to discuss as we head now down to Southwest Florida and Dunbar. Boy, again, a Dunbar program that always kind of almost flies under the radar sometimes, but they're always good. A team that always contends, and they win their kickoff classic 21-14 against another Fort Myers school in Riverdale.
No, absolutely, and that's huge right there. You know, for Dunbar to kind of get the season going a little bit. I mean, you edge Riverdale, you want to get a W. You want to get some confidence. The last 2 years, you've been to state semifinals, kind of been showing the door by Mainland in 2022, St. Augustine in 2023.
They run into some better teams.
A couple of buzzsaws a little bit,
but still a very consistently a good team that contends.
No, absolutely, and that's the thing right there to think about that with Dunbar is that they have been consistently just one of Southwest Florida's top teams, and again, we talked about it last week. Could this be the year that a Lee County team finally wins the state championship? The same that we talked about with Pinellas County. Those are two counties two large metropolitan type counties that have a lot of population, and there's not been a state champion, not from either the public or the private schools.
And I don't think they haven't had a school even play for the state title since Bishop Verot. Wasn't that in the 90s? I mean, it's been a little while. I think so. They were a Lee County team, and
there was a team named up here where we're near called Union County that took care of that with Bishop Verot in that one.
Yes, they did in the middle of their 3 straight state titles in the mid 90s. That's true. But we'll see if maybe that can happen as well with Bishop Verot, and we talked about them as well some last week. But one team that has won state titles before, and is another consistently good team, is you head down to Collier County, Naples, and Naples.
Oh, always Naples.
And even after Bill Kramer has retired, they've continued to win. No problem with Gulf Coast, 45-0 in their kickoff classic last week. The Naples Golden Eagles getting ready for their 2024 season.
No, absolutely, and honestly, with the Golden Eagles, you could never count them out in terms of a team that is always going to be in the hunt for a state championship title. Honestly, you have to keep the Golden Eagles somewhere in the mix. And I thought they were going to have a chance to get to the state title game. Especially like last year. They had I thought they would. Maybe this will be during the Metro Suburban. Hey, here's a chance that Naples. Hey. Naples don't have to deal with Miami Central. They don't have to deal with the teams down in Miami. No, they don't. No, I mean, honestly, and that's the thing. And I'm trying to let me go pull it up here real quick because they're in Class 4A. I mean, the path gets harder here for Naples. Let me just pull it up here because let me go ahead and pull this up here as we're looking at it. Yeah, the path. Here's the path. The path is that you don't have to worry about Miami Central. The path is you have to worry about Miami Norland or American Heritage Plantation. I mean that's where all. That's all. I mean just replace like a Miami Central, Miami Northwestern with teams like that, or maybe even Jones. Potentially. Depending on how the path goes too. So it's talk about that. Well, actually, you know what? Because they're Region 4, Naples is Region 4. New Orleans Region 4, American Heritage Plantations Region 4. So,
gotta get that region first.
For the next 2 years, what are the Golden Eagles going to be able to find to be able to get past teams like that? That's the key question.
Right. But for now, again, last week in their kickoff classic, they rushed for 313 yards, 10 yards a carry. They had to replace half of their 22 starters from a year ago. So, I mean, this is a team that you think was rebuilding, but it sounds like they're off to a really good start. And we'll see if the regular season begins.
And by the way, Naples, one of their district opponents, Dunbar.
There you go. So you'll have a Lee County, Collier County matchup there with Dunbar and Naples. Meanwhile, we just talked about Lee County. Josh,
Fort Myers.
Say Fort Myers, the team to watch as they in their kickoff, their jamboree, as there were 3 teams. They defeated Barron Collier and Estero. No problem there. 27-7 over Barron Collier, 21-0 over Estero.
Yes, and that's really the question though is that does Fort Myers play the toughest schedule around? Not necessarily. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have Naples on the schedule. Yeah, you're gonna have like the likes of like a Charlotte. Sometimes you usually last year they were 4-7. Charlotte was, and a district champ. But really, when we look at the schedule, and I'm looking at Fort Myers' schedule right here. Naples is the biggest game they've got outside of Dunbar. Naples and Dunbar are the two biggest games they've got on their schedule for this year. So, I mean,
both are home too.
Both are home too. Looking at this schedule here, I mean, it just really you're not traveling much around now. You don't have a St. Thomas Aquinas that was on the schedule the last couple of years, so you don't have that. For terms of strength of schedule purposes. I mean, the question for me here is, does the path for Fort Myers to go deep, and when we look at this, I mean, at least they're in Region 3. Mm-hmm. That's the good thing for them in some aspects, but the problem is, okay, there's Manatee up there in District 9. Okay, looking at District 10, you got Charlotte sitting there. Mariner was a playoff team last year, probably going to take a step back this year, and with a new coaching staff there. I mean, honestly, the path to me, Fort Myers, if they could just play some solid football, but yeah, they could have a path to the state champ. To me, at least to the regional finals, not to the state championship game, but to the regional finals at least.
Yeah, and Fort Myers, they've run into Naples before in the playoffs, so
but they don't have to worry about Naples this time around.
They are playing them. That's not right. They're not in their region. Yeah, as you said. So, all right. Well, speaking of that, we'll stay in Lee County, and the first game for Tyler Murphy, who literally just took over Cape Coral, a week ago?
Yes.
And, no problem. 34-7 win in the preseason, the kickoff classic over Aubrey Rogers.
Yes.
So good start for Tyler Murphy as their season's going to begin with Fort Myers. Oh, no, pardon me, not Fort Myers. That's Mariner. But we'll look at their schedule in a moment. But a good start to Tyler Murphy, former Gator quarterback, who gets himself a victory.
Yeah, I don't think I have the full schedule just yet for Cape Coral here. Let me take a look here. I may have it. I'm trying to remember, because I'm still learning the classification. So you got to forgive me. I'm still learning the classifications. I'm still learning where everybody is at.
My apologies, Fort Myers folks. I just mixed up Cape Coral with Mariner, not on purpose. They're your rivals, so my apologies on that. But yeah, and I said a good performance for them last week in that victory. And again, Tyler Murphy literally was named the coach, I believe, a little over a week ago.
Yeah, just like when we were on the show last week, it just
happened.
It just happened that day. So
he basically had about 4 days to get the team ready to play, and he did. So a good start for Tyler Murphy, first coaching job for him at Cape Coral. And that's another one we talked about too, and that'll be another thing our South Florida Blitz, Miami Northwestern, and Teddy Bridgewater, their head coach. But
we'll talk about that tomorrow night, because that's huge.
It is. All right, SSAA openers, lots of those last week. It was week 1 for those teams, basically. And in this area, it was Canterbury, Oasis, and Outdoor. Good wins for all of them to start.
Yes, absolutely. And, for Canterbury, Oasis, Outdoor, I mean, I was going back and looking at it here. And honestly, Canterbury, I mean, that's, we both had those in games in our we actually had all 3 of those teams in our games last week in our picks. So I can tell you this right now, 2 of those 3 we were right on. Marty.
I figured that. Yeah, so that's Oasis 27-0 over St. Stephen's. Canterbury beat Gateway Charter 34-20. Gateway Charter right there in that near Fort Myers area as well. And by the way, too, there's another game we didn't mention from last week. There was a kickoff classic, but Bishop Verot played St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yes, and that did not go so well.
No, not for Bishop Verot. And we knew that would be a tough one. That game being played down in Fort Myers. Actually, St. Thomas Aquinas scored the first 37 points of the game and then kind of just cruised 37-14 from there. But, I mean, that's obviously a game that Bishop Verot is going to look back and think that may help them as they go on towards during the regular season.
But we'll have to see if that's the case or not.
We will. It's a long season. I guess we'll find out starting this week as well.
No, absolutely.
So that's it for our Blitz lines. We are we're
a little ahead of schedule here.
A little bit.
We can take a break real quick. Our water break, water break.
Well, we have some. We want to get to our fan comments too, as well from everybody.
Yeah, we do. And Emory leads long comments, so forgive us because it's we can't see everything in terms of the comments here when they pop up here because it only gives us so much in terms of the character here. So
we'll do that. We'll take, as you said. Well, there we go. And then we'll do our water break in a moment. But as you can see, this past Friday, the scorching heat was the Jamboree Mulberry. Pardon me. First half between Hardy and Mulberry resulted in 14-14 tie. Mulberry Strawberry Crest 20-17. The second half, Strawberry Crest beat Hardy 14-7. Hardy has a total of 40 players.
Wow.
Playing with the 22 seniors. And okay, so that's a pretty good jamboree to start.
No, absolutely.
Strawberry Crest, Hardy, and Mulberry. Strawberry Crest in Hillsborough County. Hardy starts with Fort Meade.
Yes, and Fort Meade, who did not play a Kickoff Classic.
Yeah, and he says right here, we surprised how bad Fort Meade will be this year. Fort Meade was ranked 7th. So
he's thinking that hey, there's people saying, hey, Fort Meade, some people thinking Fort Meade, but we'll see what happens if Fort Meade loses. Then I almost want to say that Fort Meade will be out of the rural poll real quickly.
And that's probably why they didn't have a preseason game for that reason. They were originally supposed to play Bartow, but did not. And yeah, we appreciate Emory tuning in and sending us all those comments. Definitely a fan of Hardy. And we will check out with him probably most every week on the Gulf Coast Blitz. All right, now we'll take our water break. When we come back, we'll have some more thoughts about what's going on the Gulf Coast and then get to our pick 6. And that is going to take us to the end of the show tonight, but still plenty to go here on the Gulf Coast Blitz.
We'll be right back right after this. Make sure you're following us here on social media at Florida HS Football. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and hit that notification bell so that way you can get notifications when we go live and or post new videos.
All right, we'll be back. All right, welcome back to the Gulf Coast Blitz. Marty Pallman, Joshua Wilson, as we continue to move on now to, we had our fan question of the week basically there, and now we were going to...
we actually have another question. We're going to do that.
Let's go ahead. Yep.
And we're going to bring that up here, fan question, because we do have one from Noli Skindos. I'm hoping I'm saying it right, because I have not been able to pronounce it. Skidun. Can you say it, Marty?
I'm going to go with Secundus. I'm like, sorry. Yeah, apologies. Hopefully we're getting that right. But what would be the most equitable solution to leveling the playing field and increasing overall competitiveness in Florida? Class reduction, open classes, undoing open transfers. Well, yes.
Okay, so let's break that down for a moment here as we talk.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Let's go increasing the overall competitiveness in Florida. Well, obviously, I mean, the biggest thing is going to that last part of that question is undoing the open transfers. That would change a lot of things right there. Keeping kids at your home zone school right there would start, but
well, that's
not going to change anytime soon.
No, and I feel like we've kind of lost that battle. I think that's happening and it's here and we're doing it. So
yes.
You're right for now. Maybe one day, yes, but not right now. And the open classes, that would be
well, it's coming.
Yeah,
but it's going to be phased in over 2 years' time. It was voted upon that will happen.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I don't know how much longer we're going to have districts. I guess they like keeping the district play, but I have a feeling
class reduction though. I want to answer this one because this one gets my goat every time.
Go ahead.
Honestly,
your goat.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought 9 was too many, but we lived with it.
Oh, you mean class reductions? Right?
Class reduction. All right. In my opinion, 8 is too many still here too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we could get away with 7 and be fine.
We had 7. I mean, it seemed to be okay. I don't know.
Well, but it's been 20 years since you had 7 classifications. It's been over 20 years.
Well, that's true. I mean, God, it has been that long. But the thing about it is, it just seems like I don't know. We get to I don't want to say. We get to the 1A and the 2A, and obviously they're good teams there, but it's not as many teams, and it's just not quite the same overall. And that's always been the case. You could say the same thing last year of like the 1S and 1A probably, but you're right. I mean, we probably could do with less classifications. I mean, it gives you more, chances to win state championships, I guess. But other than that,
I mean, at the end of the day, honestly, I have to say this. I mean, we really definitely do need to balance the playing field a little bit, here. And honestly, I thought Metro Suburban was headed towards that solution.
Right.
But, I will say this. There is one thing, and we mentioned it last week on a couple of the shows, especially the North Florida Blitz. There is a new playoff format that's coming for this year for the rural classification. That is a test. And what that is going to look like, it's basically it's going to be A division, B division split. So the highest 16 rated teams in Division A in the rural class will be seated, and they'll be in the A bracket, which will play for the true state championship for the rural classification. B will be like another playoff bracket, but it won't. I don't think they're going to call it like a state champion. Whoever wins that bracket, it's just going to be more like the B division kind of champion. It's not like an official state title or anything, from my understanding. The way I have understood it to be here,
right?
But at this particular point, the question is that does that B level bracket gets treated the same in terms of being with the way the playoffs go? I don't know, but the question is, does this end up working? Does it bring the competitive gap? Does it close it? Which is what I think what he's looking what he's looking for. And honestly, if that happens, then you're going to see this implemented on the rest of the playoff brackets, obviously in football, but it'll be a 2-year trial here. So it's not going to happen immediately. But if it does work, go 2 years, but you could see this happen in football. You could see it happen actually in the rest of the team sports, because it may be the answer to closing some of the issues that we're not going to be able to fix.
Yeah. We've been talking about this for how long? 20 years? You've been doing this 15 years. I don't think we're ever going to actually find something that's going to make everybody happy. We know that someone's going to be unhappy somewhere. So I don't know if there's a perfect solution. I'm kind of with you on the suburban metro, and honestly, I wasn't really sure why that went away after 2 years, but it did.
It was kind of like a lot of people were saying, hey, it's working. Hey, a lot of people were hesitant. A lot of people were like, no, we don't want this. But then, you give it 2 years and you see, hey, we're like, well, wait a second. Hey, this has got something, because you know what happened outside of that Class 1M game the last 2 years? Every other state championship game was competitive. It wasn't a blowout. It wasn't running clock. There was something exciting about it. And honestly,
two games that ended in a field goal in the last play of the game. You had another with a Hail Mary nearly won. And you had one game that had 108 points combined. Lakeland and Venice 60-48. I mean,
Venice was scoring on the final play of the game. I mean, there you go.
And even Hawthorne, Madison County was a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. You're right. There were some really competitive probably the most competitive state championship games I can remember. Homestead, 3 points down, almost beat St. Thomas Aquinas, had a chance to win. And yeah, so it was, you're right. But, we'll see if we go back to this A classifications, how this works. But anyways, you can see if you have a question, email it to florida@floridahsfootball.com.
Yes.
And we will try to answer your question next week on our 3rd edition of the Gulf Coast Blitz. But now it's time for, first off, the Pick Six. There's the Pick Six music. Josh cues the music. And
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm just going to preface it. All right. The computer picks, I've got some trouble with some of the schedules here for this region right this second, so I don't have every schedule situated in the computer. Now, I will say this. By the time I put the computer picks up later this week, the computer picks for these games will be that they will count in there. So once I get the computer picks all sorted out, once the computer tells me what it's going to be, it'll count whatever it comes out to be. We'll talk more about that next week on this show. Hopefully I'll have everything situated for the 2 shows tomorrow night in terms of what the computer is doing, especially with the teams that are coming from out of state down here. So, and that's a little trickier trying to figure out, like, okay, how they handle the national teams that are coming in from other places, because,
it's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. So, but we will put our picks up here now. Last week, Marty, good job again. 5-1 on the picks. The game we both missed. We missed the Bell Creek at Space Coast game. Even the computer was totally way off.
Yeah, 41 for Bell Creek.
And that was not. It was 13 points for Space Coast.
Yeah, your computer, man, I don't know. But I tell you, I'm glad the humans are beating the computer so far here in early in the season. But, yeah, that's the only loss I had, Bell Creek against Space Coast. And well, the other one was your second.
My second one was actually losing the game. I thought I took Sarasota Christian. You took Old Plank. Old Plank won their first 11-man game.
Their first 11-man game. I know. And you know what? That's one thing.
It was the first 11-man game for both teams, actually.
Okay. So that's something. And boy, congratulations to Old Plank Christian there in Jacksonville for that win. But now we move on to week 1.
Yes.
The FHSA football season. And we will be back to FHSA games. And there you go. We start with a game, the private Catholic school matchup. Jesuit travels to Fort Myers to play Bishop Barrow.
Yes, indeed. And this one, Plant, I mean, for Jesuit, Plant's going to be on our thing next game here. So I'm getting my head of myself here because I'm looking at the screen here, looking ahead too. But Jesuit, Bishop Barrow coming off not so nice game against St. Thomas Aquinas, and then Jesuit, the Tigers, they have been a perennial playoff team. Bishop Barrow, they have been, at least to the regional final the last 2 years. So my thing here about Bishop Barrow and Jesuit, this is a tough game to pick, but I'm going with just a little bit more seasoned of a team here, and that is Jesuit.
Yeah, I agree. The Jesuit Tigers, we know they played for one state title a few years ago. Bishop Barrow's a good team, but they played St. Thomas Aquinas at the kickoff classic, and now they get Jesuit to start. Not a easy beginning for the Vikings, and I like Jesuit to go down and win as well in Fort Myers against Bishop Barrow. So
yeah, absolutely.
Both take Jesuit there, and as you said, we'll have the computer.
We'll get that situated
later.
Here. Yes.
Meanwhile, next game, as you mentioned, Plant, they will travel, not far, right, in the Tampa area to play Carrollwood Day. And, boy, again, Carrollwood Day, this is another program that's been on the up and up. But Plant, another team we think is back this year after talking to Hooks in Tampa Bay.
They got to the state semifinals last year. So Hank Brown has put his stamp on the program. Plant went through a little bit of a rough patch right there between the Robert Wiener days, and now it's the Hank Brown days, and Plant's kind of back to, hey, we're in the mix here now. And then what? Plant being in 6A, the pathway to state title is a little bit clearer, but not all the way clear, because you got Mandarin sitting there, you got Homestead sitting in that classification. So but you don't have to deal with a stiff-ending state champion sitting there.
You don't have Aquinas, you don't have Lakeland, you don't have those teams.
You don't have Columbus.
Right? So. Well, in this game, though, I'm going to say it's a road game, but not far for Plant to go, and I think there'll be a little bit too much for Carrollwood Day. I'm going to take Henry B. Plant High School, the Panthers.
Yes, the West Coast Railroad magnet, as they would say.
That's right, Henry B. Plant. And looks like you're taking Plant as well. Plant, not to be confused, of course, with Plant City. And then when they play each other, that does get a little confusing. But Plant High School, we have winning against Carrollwood Day. All right, next game up. another Tampa Bay team heading a little bit south, this time heading into Sarasota County. Tampa Bay Tech.
Oh, this is a good one.
Venice, this is. And Tampa Bay Tech, boy, last week they were impressive in their preseason classic against the Popka, right? They beat up.
Let's take a look, as I think it's in this stack of stuff that we in our research notes. And I believe Venice they won too last week as well.
Yes, they did in fact. So Venice.
Yes,
sorry, I'm looking.
We're pulling it up here real quick here in terms of our notes.
Gadsden County, they beat 34-19.
So yeah, there you go. And this is the thing is here. I mean, Tampa Bay Tech. They played in the state championship in 2021 against St. Thomas Aquinas. Obviously, got their butts handed to them in that game. Or it was 2 years ago, 2021. Yes.
Who's that?
Tampa Bay Tech.
Venice
has played in the state championship game the last 3 years. They won it in 2021. Last 2 years, it's been state runner-up to Venice, or as they say, they're playing second fiddle. Not to Lakeland, I mean, and they're playing second fiddle to Lakeland right now. But they don't have to worry about Lakeland this year. They don't have to worry about Lakeland even being in their pathway towards going to the state championship. And I honestly, for the Indians, I mean, a game at Powell Davis, if you haven't checked out a game at Powell Davis Stadium, I recommend you go ahead and do that, because it is an atmosphere, be it nighttime or be it daytime, is which I got to say daytime game, because it was a game. That was a couple years ago, and they played Cardinal Gibbons in a reschedule from week 1 because, hurricanes decided,
Yeah, as they do almost every year. Knock on wood. Let's not have that.
Knock on wood here. So yes, no. And you know what? There you go. No STA, no Lakeland, no excuses. Shout out to the Venice Indian fan, who is another fan that follows along here. So definitely the case here. But to get back to what we're talking about here with this game and our picks here, Marty.
Yeah, we're going with Venice, the Indians.
Yes, we are. And that's where we're going to leave it at right there.
I agree. I think Tampa Bay Tech definitely going to give them a test here. But, Venice still pretty good. They're loaded. And we'll see. Their fans already think they can win a state title with Aquinas and Lakeland out of the way. So we take Venice there as we will move on to our fourth game. I like this matchup as a kind of an inter-area matchup. Lake Mineola comes over from Central Florida to Bradenton to take on Manatee.
Yes, and you know what, Jaquez Green, he's gotten Manatee back up a little bit there. They're winning now about 8 to 9 games now here a year, but it's still not the Manatee that a lot of people grew up on with Joe Canan, and you're winning state championships, or you're in the hunt for the state championship every year. Manatee's not back necessarily to that level just yet.
Right.
And the question will be, can Manatee start off the season on the right note? And I think this is where we're going to actually have a disagreement at, Marty.
Yeah, and Manatee beating Hillsborough 40-0 in their kickoff classic. So impressive performance. But yeah, you're right. Manatee has not been the Manatee that they once were. And I can tell you, Lake Mineola is a team that's been. I mean, they went to the state championship game about 3 years ago. And played. Of course, they lost. They unfortunately had to play Miami Central, but Lake Mineola is a pretty solid program. So I'm actually
that was COVID year.
That was 2020, right?
That was at FSU.
They beat St. Augustine in the semifinals.
That was a triple overtime. I remember we were broadcasting that.
That was a great game, and but I like Lake Mineola. I know it's on the road, but I'm going to take the Lake Mineola to win this game, and I know you're going to go against that. Probably.
I'm going to go against that, and here's why. Lake Mineola has a new coach.
Oh, right.
Walter Banks is no longer the head coach.
Yeah, and they've done really well under Walter Banks.
And that's why I'm going to go Manatee in this one. Manatee's at home, and you're right there in the comforts there of the fans. That's why I'm going to Hurricanes in this one. And I almost want to think the computer's going to take Manatee. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, probably. I'm probably going against the grain a little bit here, but I do like Jaquez Green. And of course, there are many reasons why. One of which is where we live and where he played college football, but also a long NFL career as well with the Bucks. Now we move on to Game 5. This is Sarasota Riverview at Naples. This is a good ball game.
No, absolutely. Can't get better than this between a team from Sarasota County and the Rams of Sarasota Riverview and against the Golden Eagles of Naples. Another place I recommend going to see a high school football game, Staver Field at Naples.
Yeah, I've been there.
I have been there too, and it is worth every penny of the price of admission, whatever the ticket prices are now, because they keep changing.
Media passes free or us to go, but yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's also true. But yeah, no, it was a fun place to go. And unfortunately, the night I went there, they were playing Miami Northwestern in the state semifinals. But yeah, it was. But still, I enjoyed going to Naples and Naples High School. And well, this game, I mean, we know Sarasota Riverview's been. They've had some good teams recently. Last year, tough game in the kickoff classic. Port Charlotte beat them 37-12. But in this case, I think Naples. We talked about how good Naples can be. I think they win at home,
and I think it's just because it's at Naples. It's a tough environment to play at. And honestly, my opinion is that it really if you're not prepared to play at Naples, you're going to get ran over. But I know Riverview will be prepared there, and we'll see what happens. Someone's going to go 1-0, and someone's going to go 0-1.
Yeah, that's we'll see. You're right. After week 1, that will be true. So
now I love this. I love this final matchup we got here.
Game of the week. Yeah, this is the game of the week. Berkeley Prep, Clearwater Central Catholic, defending state champ Berkeley Prep, 2-time state runner-up Clearwater Central Catholic. And you and I have a difference on this because I really like Berkeley Prep, and they have a lot of their team back from a year ago. The defending state champs Miami Norland. I'm taking Berkeley Prep on the road.
Now, sir.
Yeah.
The same goes for CCC here.
Well, there you go.
They got a lot of that team back.
Yeah. So,
but CCC is also being held by a couple transfers that have come in. Obviously, I mean that's the lay of the land. We know how that happens. So with that said, I'm going CCC. You're going Berkeley Prep. So we have had 2 disagreements here so far in our picks here this week, and we'll see what happens. But so far, Marty,
Josh has got to make up the 1-game deficit in both in our picks so far.
Yeah, I mean you're 4. I'm 4-2 in this one, and you're 5-1. And so far on the season, in terms of picks so far that we have done on our shows here, Marty, I believe you are so far are 10-2, and I am sitting here at 8-4. So, and the computer not doing its
it's
hard,
early, very, 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 very early. So we got a long way to go. And this week's going to say a lot because, man, I tell you, what a week. Gulf Coast has got some games. South Florida, too. We'll talk about that tomorrow night. North Florida as well. Gulf Coast has got some really good games here in week 1. Emery, 5-1 is impressive. Thanks, Emery. Well,
yes.
I get lucky every now and then. Great job. Let's see what's in store for
we'll see what happens here. There's a chance I might catch up to Marty here.
I'm sure there is.
It's only week 1.
Yeah, it's week 1. But
it was week 0 last week, so it's week 1 now. So we'll have another round of games.
Yeah, last week didn't technically count, I guess, because it was week 0. But yeah, that's I appreciate it, Emery, and we also appreciate you watching and also commenting as you do. And looks like we got a couple of others.
We can't
really. Yeah, we don't get those.
Well, but Charles Jackson Jr., thanks you for popping by and watching. For your area that because you said go Union County in another comment tomorrow night.
Yes, tomorrow night. Yeah,
tomorrow night at 8:30, the North Florida Blitz. That's the one you want to watch for
Union County Tigers. Yes, and you mentioned them earlier. They knocked out Bishop earlier to win the state title. But our guest tomorrow night on the North Florida Blitz will be Noah Ram, Gainesville Sun prep editor. And tomorrow night, South Florida Blitz, 7:30 to 8:15. Larry Bluestein, the legend, the man. I might probably do the whole show with Larry almost tomorrow night. And then 8:30 to 9:15 North
There's
Florida
never enough
Blitz.
time. There's never enough time for everything to get everything in because, we could go hours and hours with Larry.
You're right. Final thoughts. What jam-packed show here we had and just a lot to talk about. And I'm really excited about the games coming up. Really, not just the state of Florida, but the Gulf Coast has got a great slate of games.
No, absolutely, and that's the thing, Marty. It's definitely a big week here in terms of the Gulf Coast. Again, we were going through the games, trying to figure out, okay, which 6 games are we going to put on this, and we were having to cut games out of here, and we
had like 12, and we could easily pick more probably, but that's it's why it's called the Pick 6. It's not called the Pick 12, so we had to.
Because there is no Pick 12 in football.
No, there is no. There's no picks. There's only Pick 6. So, but we will look forward to the results of that. Look forward to the games Thursday and Friday. Most of them playing on Friday, of course, as well this week in the Gulf Coast. So, of course, we appreciate you watching us tonight on Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Talk about the YouTube channel.
Yes, definitely. Sign up on YouTube, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell at Fort HS Football. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Fort HS Football, and on X at FLA HS Football. And then hit that QR code, download the new FortHSFootball.com app. You won't be disappointed by doing that.
All right. For Joshua Wilson of FortHSFootball.com, I'm Marty Pallman. Say goodnight, Josh.
Good night, Marty.
All right.